hates the sport so much that she's quit the sport. She's never doing it again and has now gained 50 pounds. And now she's a coach. And so we need a coach to get to that level. This needs to stop. All these women compete in bodybuilding bikini competitions and they brag about how much fun they're having and how great they look and how lean they are and celebrate by eating peanut butter. Oh my God, I ate peanut butter and crumble. And then they get fat in the off season and say that they're happy. There is a happy medium. You don't have to be too skinny and you don't have to be too fat. You're allowed to be somewhere in the middle. I don't know why no one's told these women these things, but I'm here to set them straight. The quitting bodybuilding effect. And so she's in tears of how happy she is to finally have quit bodybuilding. You know, that horrendous sport that no one should ever do. I'm with you. Bodybuilding isn't for everyone. Perhaps it's for the 1%ers. The people who have the dedication, the willingness to suffer, to diet, all the things. You know, I was one of these people. But it doesn't have to be all or nothing. This woman, when she competed, 100 pounds. Perhaps she's 5 feet tall, 100 pounds. Pretty small. Off season, now that she's happy, 150 pounds. Why do you have to be too skinny or too fat? You can hate me, you can write in the comment section, you can say I'm a bad person, whatever. Why aren't you just going to be 125 pounds? When you restrict calories to this extent and you starve yourself, you get down to 100 pounds. Of course, life sucks. You're miserable. You lose your period. There's all kinds of bad things that are happening. You have no life. But to the same extent, you don't need to eat every burger, candy, cookie, crumble, and juju berry and get yourself to 150 pounds. You're allowed to have some form of discipline and be somewhere in the middle. Really proud of you. I'm happy that she's happy, but I'm not really proud of her. Proud of her for what? For dieting too hard, going all in, overly restricting her calories, not having balance, clearly not eating from my cookbook, and doing so badly that she now hates the sport. Hates the sport so much that she's quit the sport. She's never doing it again and has now gained 50 pounds. Now, am I saying that she's grossly overweight, that she's morbidly obese? No, but she is in fact overweight. She's certainly not as healthy as if she were to lose 10 or 15 pounds. And so I'm here to say you're allowed to be somewhere in the middle. 150 pounds, her body fat is well over 30% body fat. She's clearly gained more weight than she needs to, and she could still be happy somewhere in the middle. Many times people will diet down and do 2 hours cardio a day and eat, for example, 800 or 1,000 calories and starve themselves in order to get in shape. And then following the competition, they eat everything in sight, stop doing cardio, and they then become obese. This is very common. And so I'm not proud of that. You know what would make me proud? You compete with a realistic diet, with realistic expectations. You don't go too far. You stay 100% natural. And then following the competition, you slowly put on the weight until you're healthy. The difference between staying a body that didn't serve me, bodybuilding, and literally destroying my health to actually training to be healthy, eating to nourish myself. The glow is back. And now she's a coach. DM me for coaching. And so we need a coach to get to that level. Here's what she does. Eat whatever you want. Go all in, eat everything that you're wanting, all of your cravings. Perhaps eat 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day. Don't do much cardio. Give in to whatever life wants you to do and just have fun. Do you really need a coach for that? I'm not saying that she's ugly. I'm not trying to make fun of her. She looks very attractive. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't take tremendous skill to coach someone to get above 35% body fat. She doesn't know it yet, but this bite is going to turn into 4 months of binging, extreme edema, and a 20-pound weight gain in 2 months. Sounds like half the bodybuilders that I know. Post-prep was so much harder mentally than the actual prep. Social media glamorizes the F out of getting shredded. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting to lose body fat and reach your goals. But fine line that should be drawn where it doesn't become unhealthy. And for the majority of us ladies out there, getting that absolute peaked and shredded look will be unhealthy. Talking 11 or 12% body fat. Posting this to remind you that social media rarely shows you the other side of what it takes to truly get shredded. I show you what it takes. I explain all the performance-enhancing drugs, the fact that people are using GLPs in abusive doses, and they're doing shit tons of cardio. They're losing their periods, they're hating their lives, and then they get to the competition and you see them almost wetting their pants eating a lick of peanut butter, or they're binging on candies and showing you, oh my God, this is what my cheat meal is. I ate everything in sight. And then they gain 20 to 50 pounds. And then they say, I hate my life. I hate coaching. I hate bodybuilding. And I quit. And I'm going to teach other women how to gain 50 pounds after a competition and not give a fuck. That's what I'm going to do. That is what I'm seeing. People, they compete. They get all the glory of getting shredded. Go, girl. You looked amazing. You're so hot. Yay, yay, yay. And then following the competition, they post all their throwback photos. Throwback to when I had a proper tan. And they hate their bodies. And how often do I explain this? After a show, you're going to remember yourself on stage with the tan and the glaze and looking your all-time best. And then when you only gain 10 pounds and you're still shredded, you're going to say you're fat. You compare yourself to your former best self and you don't like your appearance. You bulk and you cut and you only like yourself on a cut. That is why I try to tell everyone to maintain a healthy body fat percentage year round. The bodybuilders is for the top 1%. I'm not suggesting everyone tries to do a bodybuilding competition, but I am suggesting that you try to maintain. It's always the all or nothings. It's off season. It's bulking season. You put on 50 pounds. Why? For what? You think that bulking actually works, that you need to get fat in the off season to put on muscle? Just have balance. Somewhere in the middle, at least 150 minutes of cardio each and every week. At least eat some meals from my cookbook and try to be healthy. What's wrong with that? But you're going to write in the comments, say, Coach Greg just makes fun of fat people. No, I try to convince these people who are fat that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be starve yourself, have no life. I hate my life. I didn't like 6 months of dieting. I didn't eat any treats, 1,000 calories, and starve myself. I eat whatever one I want, and I'm happy with my big fat belly, and I'm going to take 10 years off my life. You're allowed to continue to do cardio. You're allowed to eat healthy, and it's called balance, of which you don't have. You shouldn't have done bodybuilding in the first place, or you should have got a coach like Coach Greg. By the way, you can do that. You can click the link and apply right now. And I will explain how to do it the right way, not the wrong way, with no bullshit. Pub, you ate the same meals for 6 months straight, and Biscoff was the first on your list post-show. The first thing I'd like you to know is this woman, I tracked back as far as she could post, and even a year ago, she was still lean. She didn't diet for 6 months. This is a lie. You really think that this girl in her off season, who was already at a very healthy weight, would need to diet for 6 months to get in shape? And so she could have very easily gotten in this shape in 6 weeks. She has amazing genetics and she always looks good. Whether it's the off season, on stage, always looks good. Watch her visceral reaction to eating peanut butter. I mean, it's as if she just met Coach Greg for the first time.
It's so hard. Bisco.
And so her body, is it lean? Absolutely. Do I think she's natural? I do think she's natural. She doesn't look like an IFBB pro. She isn't shredded. She's in great shape. She can't believe it. She begins to cry. Oh my God, where has this been my entire life? It's been 6 months. I haven't had any peanut butter. Why? Most coaches have their athletes eating peanut butter every day during their prep. She didn't have it for 6 months. Do you really think she needed to avoid eating peanut butter, anything that tasted good whatsoever, just chicken, broccoli, and rice for 6 months to get in shape? And so why the reaction? This is what happens when you overly restrict yourself for this long. 3 months later, you're fat. When you have to go on a diet this severe that you can't have anything that you like, once the floodgates open and you're now allowed to eat whatever you want, what do you think is going to happen? You really think you're going to have self-control? This would be like Larry Worlds folding a cam girl after not doing so for 6 months. There would be no control.
Oh! You got it? She's done now. She's going to rock in the corner. Oh, babe, you got me. Oh, my God.
And so one spoon after the next, before you know it, the entire container's gone, perhaps 5,000 or 6,000 calories, and then this continues. A month later, you're up 20 pounds, you don't like yourself, and you're going online, you're buying GLPs, you're buying fat burners, you're on Clen, and you don't like the way you look anymore, even though you perhaps still look better than you did when you started your diet. This is known as body dysmorphia. You look in the mirror, you see your reflection, and you don't like it, even though to everyone else, you look amazing. No one understands why you feel fat, but the reason you feel fat is because you stepped on stage with your glaze and proper tan, and you no longer have that appearance. And so you're comparing yourself to your best self, or perhaps you're swiping left and right, comparing yourself to other influencers who are probably photoshopping or using AI to appear that much better. And so you don't like the way you look. And so my suggestion, yet again, is don't restrict yourself for 6 months. This is insanity. Not to mention, she could have had the peanut butter the day of the show, the morning of the show. Like, why are you literally waiting till after the competition to start eating some peanut butter? If you haven't gotten the cookbook yet, I suggest that you get it. It was great to sign many people who brought this cookbook to the actual Arnold's and to sign my autograph with people who know what they're doing. The amount of people who said that I changed their lives, saved their lives, lost hundreds of pounds and so on. Absolutely amazing. And so please consider getting the cookbook. Have a realistic diet that you can follow for the rest of your life. Code Greg for 15% off. The girl who quit bodybuilding because she was 100 pounds and now she's 150 pounds. Well, let's see what a typical day of, eating is for her. Let's just see. A real what I eat in a day as a gym girl who doesn't count calories. Okay, fine. You don't need to count calories, but you're still allowed to eat fewer of them. And there you go. And so she eats 3 massive bowls of food. Guaranteed she's not going to show the junk food that she's eating. She's not going to show you the ice cream, the candy, the juju berries, the chips. Trust me, I've been around the game for a very long time. I've been training since I was 10. That's 40 years. I've been competing for over 30. I know that people lie. And when they show their full days of eating, they're not going to show the secret foods in their stash. They're not opening up the candy drawer and showing you the chocolate bars that they're eating. And so what they want to make it look like is they eat perfect and that they're so healthy and that it's so good and their life is so amazing since quitting bodybuilding. It's cope. If you were actually so happy, you wouldn't have to make a video showing yourself crying, quitting bodybuilding, and then trying to convince us that you're happy, smiling all the time. Hey, I'm happy now. See, love my body. It's a way to get clients. It's just how it's done. You convince the world that you're so happy and that your methods are better than other people and that made you miserable, that you've now discovered the secret and now you're happy and that other people should hire you to learn from your madness. All that happened is you dieted improperly and now you're continuing to diet improperly as evidenced by your physique. If you had a healthy body fat percentage, let's say it's 25%, and you were 130 pounds and said, you know what, I'm not competing again. I'm not into that life. It's just too much for me. I don't want to continue to bodybuild. I'm going to retire. It wasn't healthy. I want to teach people how to maintain a lean and healthy physique. Hey, why not? But what you're doing is you're promoting unhealthy. But what you're doing is promoting obesity. Now, if she wanted to exhibit balance and not diet to 100 pounds, but instead of being 150, let's say 140, she could pick up GLP Max, just naturally going to decrease her appetite by about 28%. And so she'll naturally eat less calories. Those huge bowls of food will be perhaps 3/4 as full and she'll lose some weight. Or she could do some cardio. She could get GO2 Max. She could do more steps. She could bike ride more. She could go harder. She could improve her cardio. She could progressive overload her intensity on the bike. Having an amazing physique, it isn't easy. It does require some determination, some effort, but it's well worth it. Part of the joy is knowing that you had what it took to put in the work to achieve that goal. If you dieted once for a show, hey, you showed a lot of dedication one time for 3 months, you locked in, and you over-dieted and you restricted yourself, but you couldn't lock in for life. It's, for example, people go to the Diamond Gym and they try to prove that they're a man, a real man. I trained for 4 hours straight. I lifted heavy weights. I pushed myself 3,000 reps, 500 burpees. Yeah, it's hard for one day. You did a bodybuilding show. You locked in for 4 months. 6 months, you didn't have peanut butter. It was hard. Yeah, harder than not doing it, but it was for 6 months. Do you know what's really hard? Locking in for life. Not just caving in, not saying, you know what, I identify as being healthy. I'm 150 pounds now, I'm a female. Yeah, I'm 38% body fat, but I'm healthy, I'm happy now. And making videos to try to convince other people as well as yourself that you are in fact fit, that you are in fact healthy. And then writing in the comments, hating on people like myself for trying to convince you that you can in fact lock in for life. You can have a healthy, balanced lifetime from the start to the finish. Is it as impressive for social media as going to Diamond Gym for one day and suffering for 4 hours? No. People don't applaud you. Oh, really? You do 200 minutes of cardio a week for the last 40 years? Really? Oh, you go to the gym 2 or 3 days a week. You walk consistently, you take your dogs out for walks each and every day, and you eat healthy. You eat from the cookbook. When you go out to eat fast food, you don't eat 16-inch pizzas. You split it, you eat a quarter of the pizza. You have balance. You don't get drunk all the time consuming poison. That's hard. There's no rewards. There's no social media praising you. You're not going to get glorified for doing this. No one's going to care, but you know that you did it. And so what I'm trying to convince you to do is to lock in for yourself, not for anyone else. You don't need anyone's approval but yourself. And so rather than thinking, you know what, summer's coming, I'm going to cut for the next 3 months, I'm going to lock in. And then it's winter, it's my winter arc, I'm bulking back and forth. Just main gain, just be consistently healthy. How long have you been watching me? Since you began watching me, have I gotten obese? Have I overly restricted my calories? Have I suffered to that extent? Or have you consistently watched me go to the gym, bike ride, eat healthy, and maintain a very lean and healthy physique? Do that for life. Now, some of you are young, perhaps you're 15, 16, 17, you're watching me right now. When you're 50, I want you to still be healthy. It's not all that hard for 3 or 4 years to go to the gym. And you know what's even harder, of which I wasn't able to do, is to stay natural. I stayed natural till I was in my 30s. We got guys like Eric English, they start at 15. We have Clav, who started using steroids at 14. And you're feeling the pressure. Say no. You don't need to bulk. You don't need to cut. You don't have to impress anyone. Try and impress yourself. From this moment on, you're watching the video. No more extremes. No crash dieting. No major bulk. Continue to do the best you can and simply be reasonable. Does that mean you can never have a cheat? Of course you can. You can eat off plan every single day. The people who hire me, I give them diet plans and so on, and each and every day they're allowed a cheat. And I don't call it a cheat. I call it an off meal plan because we should all be allowed to have balance, and balance is being able to eat whatever you want within reason, within certain limitations. It's not about having 15,000 calorie cheats, having 10,000 calories in a single day. It's about balance, moderation, and knowing when to quit. If you eat 5,000 calories one day, hey, you slipped, you had too much, you were at an event. Next day, you eat less. You continue to do cardio. You ate too much on one day, there's nothing wrong with that. You have extra energy, hey, you know what? You're going to go for a 2-hour bike ride. Why? Because you're healthy, because you're fit, because you enjoy it. That is what it's all about. Now, if you want to use HTLT supplements to improve yourself, of course, you can use code Greg for 15% off. If you want to go to AlgoRx, get your blood work done, or perhaps you have certain limitations, perhaps you're a morbidly obese individual and you need a GLP-1. Doctors can prescribe you needed medications. Perhaps it's enclomiphene. Perhaps it's testosterone. Perhaps you need HRT. Or maybe you need telmisartan. Your heart is beating too fast, too strong. You have high blood pressure. There are things that they can do. And so it's all about being healthy. I'm here to preach life maxing, to have an improved quantity and quality of life. And you do that by being healthy and having balance, not trying to maintain a 100-pound shredded physique and not going to the opposite extreme and eating whatever you want. It's somewhere in the middle, guys. Hopefully you learned something. If you want to support me and or get these various supplements from AlgoRx or HLT supplements, use code Greg. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch one of those 2 bloops. If you want to get sponsored by HTLT, we're growing the company to the moon. Please reach out to us. If you want to carry the supplements in your stores and or gyms, reach out to us. And you want to be coached by myself or my team, there's a link for that as well. And until next time, I am out.